Hey, Lo. JC Mountain of Jar, my friends. All right, here's what we got. We got a custom-made knife from Gomer's Knife Shop. Gomer, thank you very, 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 very much, my friend. So, me and Gomer got to talking. I started, asking a lot of questions about how he created a knife that I bought from him on Etsy. No, not Etsy. eBay. He had a small EDC knife that I picked up off of him, and I believe that Jersey Knife Guy picked up a couple of the same Farm Boy knives from Gomer just recently. And then Gomer just put out his video on how he went about making Lobo, which Lobo's right there. And I'm going to talk about him. Let's jump into it, guys. Let's talk about this. So how did Lobo come about? Lobo came about because I've been buying knives for a while. And when you buy knives and you're not happy, you just got to keep on looking for what's going to make you happy, right? It's kind of like, you ever heard that one Johnny Cash song where he worked at a car manufacturing place and he took a part of a car home with him every day for several years until he had enough to buy him, enough to put together a car at home. And it was a 59, 69, 71, 72 Chevy, 74, 78, so there's so many parts to a vehicle that it probably ended up coming out like a monster, right? And not working because as time progresses, things get better, improved, technology. So does that same thing happen with knives, right? The steel gets better. The dynamics get better. The sharpening abilities and techniques of ours get better. Well, excuse me. Well, when I started out looking for a good camp knife, I was watching a show. And during that show, I ended up making friends with a guy named Nico. His show's called Chateau. It's a hiking, camping. He is a hiker and a camper, bushcrafter out in France. And what was really cool, man, is we ended up talking. And he ended up sending me this Soligna camp knife. I thought it fit the hand really good when I got it. He used it in his videos until he got way more popular. Like when I was watching him, he was like, maybe like 4,000 people. And now he's up at like, 17,000 people watching him. So this can get sharp. It's not entirely sharp now, but I've kind of worked it a little bit. Soligna, the steel's 5CR 15. So it could get sharp, but it'll go dull right away too. It's not the greatest cutter, but it was a great, and still is, a great camp knife. And it'll throw some sparks too with a 90-degree angle. So I went off of this. I was like, okay, so I like this. And I didn't mind the sheath either, not bad. But I need something that can do multiple things. Camp stuff, bushcraft stuff, butchering, game. All right, so I moved away from that and I started looking around. What else is there? What else is there? I came across this knife, the Cold Steel. This is going to be your SK5, and I love it. I didn't use it very much. And I did a video on this maybe about 4 months ago that I love the knife and I'll always will and I'll keep it. But I hated the sheath. I didn't like the sheath. I didn't like it. So I always kept this kind of in my go bag versus my camping, hiking, wilderness type of a knife, right? So then I came across looking at somebody who's a professional in the industry, or, you know, who has a lot more experience than me. And that would be David Canterbury with his PKS, the knife school, right? And this camp knife, 1095 steel, 90 degree spine, 3, I believe, and 3/4 thickness, Scandi grind, a micarta broomstick handle, and by God, I told myself, yup, that's the one. This sucker can throw a spark. This sucker can cut your food at camp. This sucker can cut through small, it's still sharp, small sticks or whatever you want, you know, to help you make a fire. And I can use the belly really well to cut, to butcher game, to field dress. I always felt that it just was great in my hand, right? I felt that it did a great job. What happened with this is when you buy the knife, you don't get a sheath. You have to pay extra for the sheath. So I was like, oh, okay, so buy the knife, then wait a little while, get enough money, buy the sheath, because this alone is over $100, right? $140 maybe, pay another 40, 50 with tax, shipping. You know, you end up paying a lot for a knife. So I still love this knife. I still keep it. I use it. I still, everything. Still love it. Absolutely, absolutely. Was looking for something a little bit more modern. Found myself with a U.S. company, of course. Good old Essie, right? Essie's pretty darn awesome. They're pretty darn known. Randall's Adventure. This is a very specific Rowan. It's a large knife. It is a hollow grind. It is very pointy at the tip, and what it has here is a swedge as well. And if y'all have listened to my videos before about me talking about a knife that I take out with me, I always want to be able to, self-defense. I want to be able to protect myself against any animal, critter, or whatever it may be, but I also want to be able to do whatever I need to field dress an animal, to make a fire. Well, this one, I had to grind a little area here, and I never quite finished it or did it, I didn't do it beautifully. I just did it just to get a little bit of area so that I can strike my fire steel. This has got a micarta handle and fits great in the hand. The ergonomics and feel of this, and the fact that this is a lot thicker than most, I felt like this was the knife. I still do. And in that video a while back that I did, I found that this was really easy to carry for the size that it was. However, like I said, I had to grind my own area here, and there was just a few things at camp that it just didn't do while I was cooking meals, It just didn't do a few things. So then I said, all right, you go to a knife like this, the PKS, which is, what is it? PKS is the Pathfinder. It's the Pathfinder Knife School. They're only going to make a few of these. They're not a real big industry. They're not knocking them out like hundreds or thousands per month. They're doing 60 a month and then switching to a different knife and doing 60 of those per month. So in a sort of a way, you get a guy that knows what he was talking about, gets you something that is pretty close to custom design for what you need, as far as any of us being at the campsite or in the field or surviving, But still, it's not custom because you don't get any input in it, right? He came up with this idea So he's got a small amount of people that help create this. So it's a little more tailored and less factory, right? Then you go to somebody like Schwartz, and you get what they call in their website a custom knife, right? So there's only a few variations. He will give you options of what you want. So you get this high saber, you get to pick your color and your coating, but that's it, right? What I found myself liking about Schwartz is you could watch all the videos on YouTube, and again, he's making just a few every once in a while as well too. Not a real big manufacturing company pumping them out. The bill for this was a little high, but look, you get this awesome sheath, which is very particular to working very well for what you want, and the design is pretty nice. I believe in 2024, a lot of people were saying that this was the best camp knife of 2024. And by all means, I like it. I haven't had a chance to use it very much. But what I did was, when talking to Gomer, I had an experience with him that changed my view in buying a knife. Gomer put some heart into this by surprising me with this sheath. The color of the leather, I already tried this on my hip, and it hangs just perfect for me to have it out of my way when I'm walking, when I'm running, when I'm bending, when I'm climbing, that it kind of slides off to the side, doesn't poke me anywhere, doesn't poke me in here, doesn't get stuck on my leg or nothing. It just kind of moves with my body movement, which I like. And I often try getting in and out of a vehicle with these, and this did just fine. It kind of twists and lays against my leg when I'm sitting in the truck, and that is great, because there was, I think, something like this that I had, like even the Buck 119 would sit really hard like that and kind of dig into me. It wouldn't bend this way or that way. This, however, did really great in kind of switching with the movement. Anyways, I digress. This is awesome, an awesome sheath. The thickness is amazing. The stitching is well put together, and it just looks rather amazing, wouldn't you say? Now, this is the Lobo. Watching the video of Gomer make this knife, well, let me first tell you guys that he communicated with me every step of the way. The communication was via phone. We not only had a good time just talking about the creation of this, but we'd veer off and talk about other stuff too. So I believe that me and Gomer have become good friends, and probably will be for the rest of my life, man. And we are far away from each other. We're thousands of miles away, and that also makes me very happy, because this channel has allowed me to reach thousands of miles away and become friends with people that I probably never would have met in my life. So, congratulations to YouTube for creating such a thing that allows us to be friends and fellowship, or whatever it is that is created by the community that we're in. I have definitely benefited in life and more of a freedom, and I'm starting, my road to getting more healthy. Lobo, when me and Gomer were talking about Lobo, we decided to pick a name together. I came up with an idea, shot it at him, he liked it, and then he came up with an idea, shot it at me, and I kind of worked with it. And what we ended up was, there is a mountain back in my home that's called Lobo Mountain. And Gomer had said, okay, what's a mountain close to you, or what's a mountain that you have a lot of respect for, like to be in? And of course, that's the mountain, right? It's Lobo Mountain. So that's where Lobo's name came from. I wanted a pommel, which we got pommels on some of these, right? in a sort of a way, right? Full tank construction. There's your pommel and your Schwartz. There's your smaller lanyard hole. So I think, you know, there was times when me and Gomer would make a decision on something, but then I would ask his opinion, and I value his opinion because he was so not only understanding, but he was also very thorough in explaining the process over the phone while we were making it, and why something I would be thinking might not work because, you know, maybe the knife was too big for the idea I had. Maybe the style of it was too different for the idea I had. And he would explain that to me, and I would value his knowledge, and either I would change my idea of what I wanted, or he would manipulate something to make it work, even though he thought different. He knew it was my idea and what I wanted, and that's his motto, is it's your knife in the end. So this was a collaboration for sure. I knew I wanted a pommel, and he asked me if I wanted a hole for a lanyard. I said yes, and he created this, which was much better than just a little tiny hole for me, right? I dig the pommel. Now this is 2-layer micarta. Well, not 2 layers, so to speak, but 2 colors in your micarta, so that you have your red, black, red, black, red, black, both sides, and creates this type of a look when he goes in for his indentation, as well as I wanted an hourglass type of handle, and that's what I got. I got my hourglass. So what that does is that creates an area for me to grip and hold really tight and really well. Really tight and really well. I did want a little area right here. Not so much choil, but enough to be, you know, a sharpening choil area. But I wanted to be able to come up like this in case I needed to scrape anything away from whatever I'm doing, you know. So I wanted that. I have it. He gave it to me. You'll see in his video. I hope you guys watch it. It's definitely worth it to watch it. And it's definitely worth working with Gomer on a knife for yourselves as well, too. This knife was a little more expensive. There's a little bit more put into it. But he does have options for anybody, any price range, and different materials. So whatever your idea is, shoot it at Gomer. He'll come up with something for you. I know he will, and he's a great guy to work with. He surprised the heck out of me with this. Isn't that awesome? Mountain ajar. There's my mountains. 3 brass pins. That one being, I believe he said, these are like a 1/3 quarter or something. That's like 3/4. I don't know. I'm not good with math and measurements. But it is the full tank construction, 1095 steel. And that's a beast of a knife. So if you match it up against the Ronin, if you match it up against the PKS, if you match it up against the Schwartz, or even that old Eastern knife, it sure does compete with all those. This one's a little wider. This one's a little wider. This one's a little narrower, more so to meet the PKS, and this one stands so if anything, these ones are really close to each other. And I initially thought that I wanted a broomstick handle on this, but I decided, hey, if I already have this, and this, why not go with something that I don't have and see if that works for me? It's 1095 steel. Fits in my hand like a champ. What you guys can't see here is how it feels. This micarta, I would say more of like a burlap feel. This micarta is more of a polished micarta feel. but not so polished that it looks like wood, feels like wood, and is slippery in the hand. If I'm out in the rain, bad weather, be it maybe blood, it is not going to leave me slippery. I still have great purchase on this. Lobo. Lobo had to do a few other things for me. Lobo had to be able to strike some fire steel, okay? Which this is a very cheap fire steel. And Lobo can still get some sparks out of this cheap steel. Sharp. I wanted to stay with a little bit of a Scandi grind. So what we went with here is more of a hollow. And it cuts. It's a bigger knife, so you got to get in that little area. But it cuts. I wanted this knife to be with me at the campsite. So when I'm cooking, I am able to use this bail hook to pick it up out of the campfire. And I can grab my meal out of the campfire because I got a bail hook. Now, can you do that with this? No. So to me, that was super important. And if I just want to have it a little bit more secure when I'm walking, then I can do this as well too. It's well balanced. And I think it looks good too. A lot of people already knew from our shorts, both my short and Gomer's shorts, when we were making this knife together, they already knew what this was going to be. And that surprised me because that's somebody that sits by the fire very often to understand what that's going to be, right? That's your bail hook. Now the strength, I'm not worried. For as thick as it is, it gets into what it needs to get into. It cuts meat well, it chops up food well, and I'll be doing some more videos using this in the future so that you guys can tell. I ran out and I stuck it in my stump outside. It did really well and I pulled it out really easy, no problem. Gomer, thank you. You did an outstanding job. I hope that many of you guys can participate in hooking up with Gomer and maybe him making you guys something. We did a giveaway. Mountain of Jar did a giveaway. And Andrew Fett from his channel, Andrew Fett won. And he's been collaborating with Gomer for his knife too. And he's excited. Andrew is totally just saying, you know, guys, this has been one of the best experiences ever, is to talk through the build of a knife, something that he's never experienced, and that's exactly what I wanted. I wanted the experience that I had with Gomer creating my knife to be somebody else's experience too. I thought that was just a great thing to do. And along the way, Pete from Jersey Knife Guy picked up a couple of knives from him too and gave him the ideas of what he wanted. And he was able to hook up Pete as well too. So, Dwayne from Clark's Kentucky Knives. Got a couple knives over from Gomer as well, too. And then Gomer makes a couple knives for shows that he does around his area or for friends and family as well, too. So he's more than happy to fit any of you guys in, and I'm more than happy to say he's done an outstanding job with my knife. And I say my knife because I guarantee you there's not another one like it. And that is what you call a custom knife. Mount a jar.